Victor von Doom, born into a life shaped by both brilliance and tragedy. From the very beginning, his path was far from ordinary. The son of a powerful Romani witch, Cynthia, who dared to strike a deal with the demon Mephisto, Victor was left to bear the weight of her fate. She died because of that deal, and young Victor swore revenge. From that moment, his life became a relentless pursuit of power and knowledge, mastering the arcane arts and the cutting edge of science in equal measure. In his youth, Victor was a man of immense potential, but one haunted by a rival, Reed Richards. Their rivalry wasn't just about intellect, it was personal, a battle of wills between two men destined to change the world in different ways. Victor's brilliance was unmatched, but one experiment would change his life forever. The machine he designed, meant to contact his deceased mother, malfunctioned. It scarred his face and, more devastatingly, led to his disgrace. Cast out, he roamed the world, a brilliant mind, now driven by vengeance and a thirst for power. Victor's journey took him to the farthest corners of Earth. Eventually, he was found by Tibetan monks who saw the greatness within him. Under their guidance, Victor didn't just build armor, he forged an identity. The iron mask he created wasn't merely to cover the scars on his face, but to symbolize the new man he had become. Dr. Doom. When Victor returned to Latveria, it was not as a fallen genius, but as a conqueror. With unmatched intellect and a cold, unyielding resolve, he seized control of his homeland, taking the throne and solidifying his reign with ruthless precision. Victor's ambition was always grander than most could comprehend. He believed that the world could only be saved through order, but not the fragile peace others sought, only a peace enforced by his iron will. Though Victor's vision was clear, his methods were brutal. His greatest nemesis remained Reed Richards, now known as Mr. Fantastic, who Victor blamed for the accident that scarred him. Their personal history turned into a vendetta, one that would shape both of their destinies. Despite his enemies, Victor was never alone. He had allies, such as his adoptive son, Christophe Bernard, and his personal champion, Victorious, who stood by his side as he waged war against those who dared oppose him. Throughout his life, Victor brushed against unimaginable power. He outwitted the Silver Surfer, stole godlike abilities from the Beyonder, and even reshaped reality itself. At his most triumphant, he ruled the remnants of the multiverse as God Emperor of Battleworld, holding supreme power in his iron fist, until once again it all crumbled because of Reed Richards. Yet Victor's spirit remained unbroken. He continued to seek control, even as Earth faced new threats. He claimed the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme for himself, seeing it as another tool to safeguard the world in the only way he believed it could be protected, under his rule. Through it all, Victor von Doom remained steadfast in his belief. The world as he saw it would never be safe until it was molded by his hand. Ruthless, brilliant, and unyielding, Victor was not just a man, he was Dr. Doom. And only he had the vision and the power to shape the future of humanity, even if the world feared what he had become. Welcome, true believers, to Stan Lee Presents, your go-to for epic comic character history. Want more stories of your favorite heroes and villains? Like, subscribe, and join us for weekly lessons on the legends of Marvel. Early years. Childhood. Victor von Doom's origins are steeped in both tragedy and mystery. Born in the small, oppressed nation of Latveria, in the shadowy village of Hassenstadt, his early life was shaped by the constant threat of danger. His parents, Cynthia and Werner von Doom, were part of the Zafiro, a marginalized Romani group under the tyrannical rule of King Vladimir. The family was constantly on the run, fleeing the king's soldiers who hunted them mercilessly. While Werner was a healer using traditional medicine to aid their people, Cynthia was a sorceress, dabbling in the dark arts. From the very beginning, Victor was no ordinary child. He claimed to remember everything, even from his time in the womb. A memory he suspected was connected to his mother's sorcery. But tragedy struck early. At just 4 years old, Victor lost his mother after she made a catastrophic pact with the demon Mephisto. In her desire to protect their people, Cynthia gained dark powers, but at a horrible cost: the lives of innocent children. Horrified by the destruction she had caused, she was hunted down and slain by the king's soldiers. Before she died in her husband's arms, Cynthia begged Werner to keep the truth about her powers from their son, hoping to protect him from the same fate. Cynthia was buried in an unmarked grave, but whispers of her actions spread throughout the Zephyro. Even as a child, Victor stood tall, defending his mother's honor, warning that anyone who spoke ill of her might one day face a man as powerful and dangerous as she had been. Werner, in a desperate attempt to shield his son from the dark arts, hid all of Cynthia's mystical artifacts, hoping to keep Victor's future free from the shadows that had claimed his mother. As a young boy, Victor Von Doom found solace in the company of a girl named Valeria, his only friend and, by the age of 11, his first love. Their bond was a rare light in Victor's harsh world, but this brief peace was shattered when the king's wife fell ill with cancer. Desperate for a cure, the king summoned Victor's father to heal her. Despite Werner's efforts, her illness was beyond his abilities, and when she died, the king ordered Werner's execution in a fit of rage. Fleeing for their lives, Werner and Victor escaped into the cold wilderness of the Latverian Alps. Their horse abandoned them, leaving the two to survive the brutal elements. Werner wrapped his young son in his own clothes, sacrificing himself to the cold to keep Victor alive. By morning, they were found by a Romani man named Boris, but it was too late for Werner. On his deathbed, Werner entrusted Boris with Victor's care, his final words hinting at a need to protect the world from his son's future potential. Victor, consumed with anger and grief, swore that one day he would avenge his father. Under Boris's guidance, Victor discovered his father's modest collection of herbs and potions, tools he had used to heal the sick. But it was his mother's hidden artifacts, steeped in dark magic, that truly caught Victor's eye. Showing them to Valeria, Victor found that while she feared their power, he was determined to master both the worlds of science and sorcery. His obsession with knowledge grew, and it was during this time that Victor's path took another strange turn. One night, he was visited by the legendary sorceress Morgan Le Fay, who had traveled from the 6th century. She sought revenge against the Victor of the future, but seeing him as a mere boy, she hesitated. Instead of killing him, she decided to wait, determined that when the time came, Victor would understand exactly why he was being punished, ensuring that her revenge would not alter history in a way that might benefit him. Victor Von Doom, now a master of both science and sorcery, was determined to use his newfound skills to dominate the world. However, this ambition drove a wedge between him and Valeria. She feared that his lust for power had spiraled out of control, but Victor saw her fear as weakness. Their bond fractured, and Victor plunged deeper into his quest for mastery. To fund his endeavors, Victor began selling bizarre inventions to the barons and lords of Latveria, items like a violin that played itself or a hair salve that cured headaches. But these trinkets were often rigged to fail, leading to resentment among Latveria's ruling class. Despite their best efforts to punish him, Doom always stayed one step ahead, using his ingenious devices to escape capture. In one instance, he even sent a robot to face a firing squad in his place, further frustrating his enemies. Even as he manipulated the elite, Victor protected his own people, the Zephyro, using his talents to shield them from the king's persecution. His leadership earned him their loyalty, but the darkness inside him was growing. One fateful night, while walking alone, Victor was confronted by one of King Vladimir's soldiers. Unarmed and with a rifle pointed at his face, something snapped within him. In a sudden burst of violence, Victor strangled the soldier to death, staring into his eyes as the life drained from them. This experience left him shaken, haunted by the realization that he was becoming like his mother, entangled in the same dark forces. His hands trembled well into the next day. Word of Victor's genius soon reached the United States, and a scout from State University arrived with an offer that would change his life. At first, it was believed to be a simple scholarship, but it was later revealed that the US Army had a vested interest in recruiting Victor before hostile foreign nations could get their hands on his talents. Seeing this opportunity as both a challenge and a way to escape the chaos of his life in Latveria, Victor accepted. His future was about to unfold on a much larger stage. State University. When Victor Von Doom arrived in America, his obsession with rescuing his mother's soul from Mephisto's realm had only intensified. Believing her soul was trapped, Victor threw himself into the study of alternate dimensions, determined to create a device that could breach the demonic world. The US Army, eager to harness his genius, provided him with a lab on their base, allowing him to continue his experiments in secret. At State University, Doom crossed paths with another brilliant mind, Reed Richards. Unlike Victor, who was aloof and solitary, Reed sought collaboration and took an interest in Doom's work. But Doom, prideful and focused, had little interest in friendship. Their relationship began with tension, especially when Doom nearly got into a fight with Reed's future roommate, Ben Grimm. Victor even declined an offer to room with Reed, preferring his private dorm with a secret soundproof lab set up by the government. Victor dismissed Reed until a physics class debate about Einstein's work on parallel universes. When Reed unexpectedly defended Victor's theory, Doom, though irritated, found himself impressed by Richards' intellect. This sparked a rivalry. While they were not friends, the two geniuses recognized each other as intellectual equals, engaging in debates that left their professors in awe. Together, they even designed a groundbreaking new computer, but Victor mostly kept to himself, avoiding the typical university activities like athletics or socializing. Victor's focus remained on his work. His brilliance attracted admiration from classmates, particularly women, and he soon acquired a loyal lab assistant, Daniel Kurtz. While developing combat robots for the military, Victor secretly continued his personal project, building a device to locate his mother's soul. He also delved deeper into the dark arts, blending science and sorcery in a way that no one else could. One night, in a rare lapse of discipline, Victor attended a party with Kurtz. After drinking and flirting, a girl led him into the woods, but her forwardness repulsed Victor. She was nothing like Valeria. Overcome by a violent impulse, Victor began strangling her, only to see the face of the soldier he had killed years before flash before his eyes. Horrified by his own actions, he stopped. The girl fled, and though the incident was hushed up by the university administrators and the military, the students were left in fear of him. Despite this dark episode, Doom's work continued unhindered. His advancements in robotics earned him praise from the military, and he achieved a major breakthrough with his first working prototype of a time platform, a device that would allow him to manipulate time itself, bringing him one step closer to his ultimate goal. One fateful day, Reed Richards stumbled upon Victor Von Doom's notes for the device he was building to contact his mother's soul. Some accounts suggest that Reed noticed a flaw in Victor's calculations, but when he tried to warn him, Doom's pride and ego clouded his judgment. Enraged at the intrusion, Victor refused to listen, dismissing Richards' concerns. More recent versions of the story suggest that Reed simply couldn't comprehend the delicate fusion of science and sorcery that Doom had used in his design. Nevertheless, Doom pressed forward with the experiment. For a brief, harrowing moment, the device worked. Victor was transported to Mephisto's realm, where his mother appeared, pleading with him to turn back. Before he could react, Mephisto reached out and touched Doom, chilling him to his very soul. In that instant, the experiment catastrophically backfired. The machine exploded, leaving Victor's face scarred, a moment that would change him forever. Expelled from State University for conducting the experiment without authorization, Doom placed the blame squarely on Richards, convinced that his interference had caused the failure. According to one account, Doom's injury was merely a minor scar, but in his mind, it was far worse. His vanity led him to believe that his face had been horribly disfigured beyond recognition. Refusing to accept reality, Victor began wearing bandages over his face, haunted by visions of his mother and the demonic presence he had encountered. For months, Victor languished in a hospital bed, refusing to cooperate with authorities or speak about the explosion. Sleep eluded him, his nights filled with nightmares of the netherworld. Finally, deciding that his time in America had come to an end, Victor hatched a plan. He created a device that would destroy all of the military inventions he had built during his stay, ensuring that they could never benefit from his genius. Before anyone could capture him, Victor disappeared, leaving the country behind as he set his sights on a new destiny. In hiding, after fleeing America, Victor Von Doom used the money he had earned to stay hidden, constantly moving through Europe to evade US authorities. During this time, he honed his craft and solidified his plans for the future. It's believed that Doom established two secret bases of operations around this period, one in the Adirondack Mountains of New York and another in Romania, where he commanded an army of fiercely loyal Romani followers. It was during this time that Doom also constructed a new time platform, continuing his obsession with unlocking the secrets of the netherworld to reach his mother. To further his goals, he sought the expertise of Dr. Olson, a deceased scientist, and embarked on a dangerous mission through time. Using the time platform, Doom traveled back to 1942, deep in the chaos of World War II. This journey led Doom into a precarious alliance. At the time, Adolf Hitler had enlisted Dr. Olson to build a device capable of summoning the Asgardian thunder god, Thor, to fight against the allied heroes known as the Invaders. Olson and Doom successfully brought Thor into that era, and under Hitler's influence, Thor attacked the Invaders who were on a mission in Russia. However, things soon spiraled out of control. Dr. Olsen died of a heart attack, leaving Hitler determined to summon trolls into his time in a desperate bid for more power. Seeing the madness of Hitler's plan and realizing he could no longer get the help he needed, Doom sabotaged the device, setting it to explode. He left Hitler to his fate, escaping back to his own time as the chaos of the past unfolded behind him. Victor, ever obsessed with healing his scarred face and gaining ultimate power, set his sights on the mythical Claw of Bast. He believed the claw could not only restore his face, but also help him conquer the world. However, the claw had mystical restrictions. It could only be used one more time, and only during a specific planetary alignment. To locate its pieces, Doom sought the expertise of Professor Roderick Van Nuys, who also pursued the claw for his own reasons. Suffering from the debilitating Sebert syndrome, Van Nuys enlisted the help of Reed Richards, unknowingly putting himself in Doom's crosshairs. Doom, always calculating, sent his minions to thwart Richards' efforts, eventually capturing Reed, Francesca Fisher, and Alyssa Moy in Romania when they attempted to steal another artifact, the Eye of Bast, from a museum. Doom forced Reed into a twisted challenge, strapping Francesca and Alyssa into a machine similar to the one that had scarred him, offering Reed a chance to prove his calculations were flawed. Reed managed to save his companions, but Doom was one step ahead, using the opportunity to track them and steal the final component of the claw, the Paw of Bast. Doom assembled the Claw of Bast only to awaken the spirit of Pharaoh Khafre, who possessed the Sphinx and attacked them. As Doom prepared to harness the Claw's power, Reed outwitted him, using a freezing compound to trap Doom in ice. Reed then used the Claw to banish Khafre's spirit and cure Van Nuys, rendering the Claw powerless. With their mission complete, Richards and his team left Doom frozen in the desert, buying them enough time to escape. During this period, Victor was haunted by the horrific dreams of his experience in Mephisto's realm. He sought refuge in France, where he was constantly irritated by a drunk named Otto who persistently slept outside of his apartment. Victor's annoyance grew until the Russian KGB discovered his location. They sought to recruit Doom, using their alliance with King Vladimir to force him into their service. Victor refused, violently fighting off the KGB agents and warning them he would kill anyone sent after him again. Desperate, the KGB turned to Valeria, manipulating her into returning to Victor by claiming their people were in danger. Reunited with Valeria, Victor briefly found solace, their whirlwind romance easing his nightmares. But their happiness was short-lived. The KGB returned, this time using Valeria as a hostage to force Doom's compliance. Just as the situation seemed hopeless, Otto, the annoying drunk, revealed his true nature. Using mystical powers, he shielded Valeria and killed the KGB agents, though he was fatally wounded in the process. In his final moments, Otto revealed to Victor that he belonged to an ancient order of monks in Tibet who believed in a prophecy of a man hiding his true face, a man destined to lead them. As Otto died, Valeria begged Victor to return to Latveria with her, but Doom, seeing a new path, refused. He was now determined to seek his destiny in the Himalayan mountains, leaving Valeria and his past behind. The birth of Dr. Doom. Armed with little more than the cryptic knowledge that a secret order of monks resided somewhere in the Himalayas, Victor von Doom embarked on a perilous journey through the towering snow-covered mountains. His technological prowess allowed him to build devices that helped him navigate the unforgiving winter terrain. But even with these inventions, the trek was fraught with relentless challenges and danger. The harsh cold, treacherous cliffs, and lack of supplies pushed Doom to his limits. In one account, Doom encountered a mystical figure known as the Aged Genghis, an ancient mystic living in a secluded cave. Victor, driven by desperation, tried to force the elder to reveal his arcane secrets, but the Aged Genghis refused. Instead, he persuaded Doom to seek a hidden society of monks, offering cryptic directions to the remote temple. The account, however, contradicts the story of Otto's prophecy, though the Aged Genghis's mental clarity was questionable at best. Doom himself claimed that he found the location of the monks from a 600-year-old parchment, further shrouding his journey in mystery. As Victor continued his grueling ascent, his nights were still plagued with nightmares. Visions of his mother and the demon Mephisto, who had claimed her soul. With his resources nearly depleted and starvation and hypothermia closing in, Doom was on the brink of death. It was then that a Yeti attacked him in the wilderness. In a fierce battle, Victor managed to slay the creature. Its flesh provided him with much needed food, and its fur gave him an extra layer of protection against the biting cold. Surviving through sheer will and ingenuity, Doom pressed forward, determined to find the secret order that held the key to his future. After months of grueling travel, depleted supplies, and teetering on the brink of death, Victor von Doom finally stumbled upon the collapsing temple of the secret order of monks he'd been searching for. The monks found him in a near-dead state and took him in, nursing him back to health. Grateful, Victor convinced them of his worth, and soon they discovered his potential exceeded their expectations. These monks were masters of both magic and advanced technology, and once recovered, Doom immersed himself in their teachings. Within 5 years, not only had he mastered all that they knew, but he also surpassed their abilities. So impressed were the monks that they named him their leader. Embracing his newfound position, Victor constructed a device that allowed him to monitor all global communications: television, radio, satellite, and internet transmissions. It was through this surveillance that he learned his old rival, Reed Richards, was working on an experimental space vessel. Consumed with fury at the thought of Richards' continued success, Victor decided it was time to claim his true identity. He demanded the monks call him Dr. Doom. Haunted by constant nightmares of his mother and desiring to feel nothing, neither emotion nor pain, Victor began to design a suit of armor that would sever his physical connection to the world. The suit would protect him from the tormenting dreams and transform him into a cold, calculating engine of logic. The monks, following his precise designs, forged this armor, but when it came time to craft the mask, Doom's impatience got the better of him. Ignoring the excruciating heat, he donned the mask before it had fully cooled. The searing metal burned into his flesh, likely disfiguring his face even further. But Doom, indifferent to the agony, embraced this transformation. With his new armor and identity as Dr. Doom, Victor felt ready to take on the world. He left the Himalayas with one of the monks, Larin, at his side, and set his sights on his first act of revenge, returning to Latveria to overthrow King Vladimir and claim his homeland. Conquering the Latverian throne. When Dr. Doom returned to Latveria, he and his companion Larin took refuge in a small, abandoned castle overlooking the village where his mother had tragically caused the deaths of every child years before. This desolate place became the staging ground for Doom's campaign. He made his presence known swiftly by confronting guards overseeing a chain gang of slave laborers. With cold efficiency, Doom slew the soldiers and freed the slaves, commanding them to spread the word that the tyrants of Latveria would soon fall before the might of Dr. Doom. Back at the castle, Doom and Larin began constructing an army of robots to stand against King Vladimir's forces. As his plans unfolded, Victor sought out the Zafiro tribe and reunited with his old ally Boris. He tasked Boris with gathering the elders of the tribe, ordering them to spread word of his impending takeover. Doom even provided them with holographic projectors, broadcasting his opening salvo against Vladimir's soldiers as a symbol of his coming revolution. Though the Zafiro complied, fear lingered in their hearts. Some whispered that Victor had become the very thing they had always feared, a tyrant in the making. A lone dissenter who dared to speak out was swiftly silenced, reinforcing their fears. But the rebellion against Vladimir grew as word spread of Dr. Doom's plan to liberate the people from the king's oppressive rule. An army of rebels began to take shape, bolstered by Doom's robotic forces. Valeria, hearing of Victor's return, came to see him, but when she arrived, she was horrified at what he had become. Her once beloved Victor was now a cold, ruthless figure, driven by ambition and power. When she spoke against him, Doom had her removed from his presence, dismissing her protests as weakness. With the rebellion growing stronger, Doom's forces won several decisive victories. More and more of Vladimir's soldiers defected to Doom's side, recognizing the momentum of the revolution. Finally, Victor sent a message to the king, delivering a holographic message of his ultimatum: surrender and live, or fight and die. King Vladimir, defiant to the end, refused to surrender, and so Dr. Doom ordered his people to prepare for the final battle, one that would determine the fate of Latveria once and for all. Victor von Doom and his army pushed through the last lines of defense surrounding King Vladimir's castle. As Doom's forces approached, Vladimir stubbornly refused to surrender, instead ordering his second-in-command to ensure his sons, Rodolfo and Zorba, were safely evacuated. When Doom's army reached the capital, Vladimir's soldiers, knowing they faced an unstoppable foe, abandoned their posts, unwilling to fight against the inevitable. Victor entered the city alone, discovering that King Vladimir was attempting to flee through a secret tunnel beneath the cathedral. It was there that Doom confronted his most hated enemy, the man responsible for the deaths of both his parents. Without hesitation, Doom strangled Vladimir, fulfilling his long-sought vengeance. Afterward, he claimed the king's royal cloak as a symbol of his triumph. With Vladimir dead, Doom ordered the destruction of the old castle and relocated Latveria's capital to the very village where his mother had perished so many years ago. There, he rebuilt a grand new castle and renamed the town Doomstadt, marking the beginning of his reign. Victor was then crowned king of Latveria, solidifying his hold over the nation. Prince Rodolfo, who had been captured while trying to flee, was forced to abdicate his royal status and was sentenced to exile by Doom. Now a monarch with a kingdom at his command, Doom turned his attention back to the supernatural. Using his mystical abilities, he summoned the demon Mephisto and struck a perilous bargain. Once a year, Doom would be given a chance to save his mother's soul from Mephisto's grasp, but if he failed, the people of Latveria would slowly grow to hate and despise him. Undeterred, Victor agreed to these terms, determined to free his mother. Yet year after year, his attempts ended in failure, and the price of his ambition began to take its toll. In the wake of his conquest, Doom maintained a cloak of secrecy around his rule, keeping Latveria hidden from the outside world. During this time, he kidnapped the French scientist Professor Lafarge and his daughter Cosette, holding the girl hostage to ensure Lafarge's compliance. Under duress, Lafarge built missiles that became Latveria's first line of defense against foreign threats, ensuring Doom's kingdom remained untouchable by outside forces. The Fantastic Four. Dr. Doom soon discovered that his old rival, Reed Richards, along with his flight crew, had gained superhuman abilities after a cosmic ray accident. Together, they had formed the Fantastic Four, a team of costumed adventurers. In his typical fashion, he struck swiftly and without mercy, kidnapping Sue Storm to force the team into action. Doom had a plan. He commanded the remaining members of the Fantastic Four to travel back in time using his ingenious time platform to retrieve the legendary mystical stones of Merlin. The team had no choice but to comply, setting the stage for their first true confrontation with Doom's brilliant yet twisted mind. But this was only the beginning. Doom's next move involved manipulating the mighty Namor into joining forces with him, plotting to crush the Fantastic Four once and for all. However, in the chaos that ensued, Doom was accidentally shrunk to subatomic size, finding himself in the bizarre world of Subatomica. There, even in the face of an alien micro-world, Doom's scientific genius allowed him to seize control, and he unleashed his latest weapon, Shrink Rays, against his nemesis. But once again, the Fantastic Four, this time with the help of Ant-Man, managed to defeat him, restoring their size and sending Doom back to square one. Undeterred, Doom's next scheme involved assembling a group known as the Terrible Trio, ordinary thugs whom he empowered to carry out his will. But even with their newfound abilities, the plan ended in disaster, with Doom being swept into outer space by a solar wave. Adrift in the cosmos, Doom was rescued by none other than Ramatut, a time traveler who revealed a startling possibility, that he and Doom were connected by blood, or perhaps even destined to be the same person in different timelines. They struck a curious deal. Ramatut would return to the future while Doom would be sent back to Earth to continue his machinations. Back on Earth, Doom once again crossed paths with the Fantastic Four. This time, his plan involved hypnotizing himself into believing he had successfully destroyed them. For a time, Doom basked in this delusion of victory until a Latverian stage magician broke the spell. Realizing he had been deceived, Doom's rage boiled over, and he immediately set out for America bent on revenge. However, the Fantastic Four had lost their powers by this time, and even though they were defenseless, Doom's plans were foiled yet again. This time with the unexpected help of Daredevil. Relentless, Doom orchestrated another assault on his rivals, manipulating a coalition of the world's supervillains to crash the wedding of Reed Richards and Sue Storm. Yet even this ambitious strike failed to topple the Fantastic Four. But Doom's most audacious plan came when he clashed with the Silver Surfer. In a battle of cosmic proportions, Doom triumphed, stealing the Surfer's immense powers and his surfboard, making him one of the most powerful beings on Earth. With his godlike strength, Doom finally managed to defeat the Fantastic Four and began wreaking havoc on a global scale. However, his hubris led to his downfall. In a final confrontation, Doom was tricked into breaching the cosmic barrier set by Galactus, causing the Silver Surfer's powers to be stripped from him and returned to their rightful owner. Time and again, Doom's brilliance and ambition brought him close to ultimate victory, yet his arrogance had always seemed to be his undoing. One thing was clear, Dr. Doom would never stop until the world knelt before him. Camelot. In one of Dr. Doom's more unusual adventures, he found himself traveling through time to the age of Camelot, crossing paths with none other than Iron Man. Amidst the medieval castles and legendary knights, Doom's ambitions reached back to one of the most powerful sorceresses in history, Morgan Le Fay. He sought her mystical knowledge to further his own dark plans. But just as his negotiations with Le Fay began to take shape, Tony Stark, ever the vigilant hero, stepped in. Using his intelligence and resourcefulness, Stark managed to thwart Doom's attempt to secure the sorceress's aid. Furious at this interference, Doom's wrath boiled over, and he swore a deadly vengeance upon Iron Man, a promise of retribution that would echo throughout time. However, the urgency of their predicament forced Doom to delay his vengeance, as both he and Stark had to return to their own time to ensure they were not trapped in the distant past. Though Dr. Doom had to momentarily set aside his thirst for revenge, his mind burned with the thought of a future confrontation with Iron Man, one that would be as inevitable as it would be dangerous. An heir to the throne. After reclaiming his rightful throne in Latveria from the tyrannical rule of the mad Prince Zorba, Dr. Doom found an unlikely ally in his struggle, none other than the Fantastic Four. With their assistance, Doom was able to overthrow Zorba and restore order to his homeland, but amidst the aftermath of the conflict, Doom's attention was drawn to a young boy, Christophe Bernard, who'd been orphaned by Zorba's brutal forces. Seeing something of himself in the child, Doom made a fateful decision. He took Christophe under his wing, not merely as a ward, but as his chosen heir. In Christophe, Doom saw the future of Latveria, molding him to inherit not only the throne, but also the mantle of Dr. Doom himself. To the boy, Doom was both protector and mentor, shaping him with the same ruthless ambition and brilliance that defined his own rise to power. In Christophe, the legacy of Dr. Doom would live on, a future ruler trained by the greatest mind of the age, destined to one day continue his master's dark vision for the world. Battleworld, Beyonder. During the cosmic chaos of the Secret Wars, a powerful entity known as the Beyonder set the stage for an epic confrontation, abducting Earth's greatest heroes and villains and transporting them to a mysterious planet called Battleworld. His promise to the victors? The fulfillment of their deepest desires. Among the gathered villains, Dr. Doom quickly rose to power, taking command of their ranks with his unparalleled intellect and indomitable will. After a series of brutal battles, Doom and his forces were defeated, but Doom's genius could not be contained for long. Escaping his prison cell, he concocted a daring plan, using the body of Claw, a fellow villain, to construct a device capable of draining the power of none other than Galactus himself. With this stolen cosmic energy coursing through him, Doom set his sights on an even greater target, the Beyonder, the godlike being who orchestrated the entire event. In a titanic clash, Doom fought the Beyonder but was initially overpowered. Yet just as the Beyonder closed in, ready to dissect and study Doom like an insect under a magnifying glass, Doom's cunning struck again. He reached for a hidden device embedded within his chest plate, barely within reach, and in an instant activated it, siphoning the Beyonder's vast energy. With the Beyonder's power now his own, Doom became a near omnipotent force, capable of reshaping reality itself. Such overwhelming power did come at a cost. Doom found himself unable to rest, for even the act of dreaming could potentially unravel the fabric of the universe itself. In this godlike state, Doom was too powerful for his own good, yet the Beyonder was not truly defeated. Using Claw as his vessel, the Beyonder tricked Doom, playing on his human vulnerabilities and causing him to lose control over the stolen power. In a final decisive moment, the Beyonder reclaimed what was his, overpowering Doom and vanishing with both him and Claw. Though defeated, Doom's ambition and audacity were unmatched. He had challenged not just one of the most powerful beings in existence, but had come terrifyingly close to victory. His thirst for power, however, would only continue to grow, as would his desire to reshape the universe to his will. Emperor Doom. In one of his most audacious plans to conquer the world, Dr. Doom set his sights on a terrifying tool, Zebediah Killgrave, the mind-controlling villain known as the Purple Man. Doom, always one to think grander than anyone else, imprisoned Purple Man within a massive device he called the Psycho Prism. This machine didn't just give Doom access to Killgrave's mind-bending powers, it amplified them to a global scale. With this newfound control, Doom manipulated the United Nations and governments around the world, compelling them to declare him Emperor of Earth. Under his iron rule, the world transformed. War ended, hunger disappeared, and equality reigned. For a brief moment, the world seemed like a utopia, but it came at a steep price. Every human on the planet had been stripped of their free will, their minds enslaved to Doom's commands. Yet despite this unprecedented success, something gnawed at Doom. His victory, achieved without resistance, felt hollow. Without challenge, the thrill of conquest faded, leaving Doom restless, as though ruling the world no longer fulfilled his desire for greatness. However, one hero remained unaffected by Doom's mind control, Wonder Man, whose unique physiology rendered him immune to the Psycho Prism's influence. Recognizing the tyranny gripping the planet, Wonder Man freed his fellow Avengers from Doom's thrall and mounted an assault on Doom Island, where the Psycho Prism was held. In a moment of rare introspection, Doom, dissatisfied with his unchallenged reign, chose not to stop the heroes. He allowed them to destroy the Psycho Prism, freeing the minds of Earth's population from his grip. With the destruction of the device, the world snapped back to its old ways, as if Doom's brief period of absolute rule had never happened. While his global empire crumbled, Dr. Doom remained unshaken, knowing that while he may have relinquished control, his thirst for power and dominance would never be extinguished. Freeing his mother. In one of the most personal and emotionally charged chapters of Dr. Doom's life, he finally set in motion a plan to free his mother's soul from the clutches of hell. This time, Doom sought the assistance of Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. Strange, having won a mystical contest overseen by the ancient sorcerer Genghis, was bound by tradition to grant a request to the runner-up. This runner-up was none other than Doom. Together they embarked on a perilous journey into the depths of hell, where Cynthia Von Doom's soul had been trapped for years as a result of her ill-fated pact with Mephisto. The scheme to free her, however, came with a heartbreaking twist. In order to succeed, Doom had to endure his mother's eternal hatred. He arranged for Doctor Strange to offer himself in her place, an act meant to deceive Mephisto. When Cynthia realized what her son had done, sacrificing a noble soul in her name, her revulsion for Doom became absolute. But it was this very revulsion that set her free. In her own overwhelming disgust, Cynthia's soul became too pure to remain in hell. The hatred she bore for her own son purified her spirit, allowing her to ascend to heaven, finally at peace. As Cynthia departed for the afterlife, Doctor Strange couldn't help but wonder. Had Doom known this would be the outcome all along? Had he anticipated that his mother's freedom would come at the cost of her love? Doom's only response was a cold reflection on the nature of sacrifice. He always had known the price of his plan and had accepted it without hesitation. His mother's hatred, he mused, was a small price to pay for her freedom. For Doom, even personal loss paled in comparison to the satisfaction of achieving his goal, even if it meant becoming a villain in his mother's eyes for eternity. Counter-Earth. When Franklin Richards was kidnapped by the immensely powerful being known as Onslaught, Dr. Doom saw the crisis as a rare opportunity. With Onslaught's godlike abilities up for grabs, Doom put aside his usual ambitions for the moment and allied himself with the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, and the X-Men to confront the threat. The battle raged in Central Park, with heroes from every corner uniting to stop Onslaught's plan to consume the planet in psionic energy. As the battle escalated, the enraged Hulk managed to crack open Onslaught's armored shell, but this victory was short-lived. Onslaught shed his physical form and emerged as pure, unstoppable psionic energy. His plan to spread his essence across the globe seemed inevitable. In a desperate gambit, Thor leaped into Onslaught's energy, attempting to contain him. What followed was a cascade of sacrifices. One by one, heroes followed Thor's lead. The Fantastic Four, most of the Avengers, the Hulkless Bruce Banner, and even Dr. Doom, who was dragged into the fray by Iron Man. Their combined sacrifice gave the X-Men just enough of an opening to destroy Onslaught for good. Though the world believed Doom, the Fantastic Four, and the Avengers had perished in battle, they had not met their end. In secret, Franklin Richards had used his immense reality warping powers to save them, creating a pocket dimension called Counter-Earth where they would be safe. For several months, Doom and the missing heroes remained on Counter-Earth, biding their time until they could return to their own reality. When the time came, they breached the dimensional barriers aboard a massive ship, but Doom, ever the opportunist, attempted to seize control of the vessel mid-flight. This led to a fierce clash with Thor, and the two titans were thrown into the chaotic expanse of dimensional space, adrift for a time. Doom's journey eventually brought him back to Counter-Earth. There, he did what he does best, seize control of the entire world, using a mix of magic and advanced technology to accomplish the feat. His ambition didn't stop there. Doom used his mastery of science and sorcery to physically move Counter-Earth into his original universe, placing it in the same orbit as Earth, but on the opposite side of the sun, creating a mirrored world. However, even Doom's reign over Counter-Earth was short-lived. He was eventually overthrown and forced to return to his rightful place on Earth, plans foiled yet again. Valeria. Through a web of complex and extraordinary events, Susan Richards found herself miraculously pregnant with a child she had previously lost in a tragic miscarriage. However, once again, complications arose during the pregnancy, and with Reed Richards away, the burden of saving Sue and her unborn child fell to an unlikely source, Dr. Doom. Johnny Storm, desperate to help his sister, reached out to Doom, knowing that the proud ruler of Latveria would never pass up the opportunity to succeed where Reed had failed. True to form, Doom saw this as a chance to prove his superiority. At the time, Johnny was struggling with his powers, unable to flame off without technological assistance after being overloaded with energy from the negative zone. Doom cleverly used Johnny's excess energy, channeling it into Sue's body to stabilize her condition and to keep her and the unborn child alive. His reward? Doom's only condition for his assistance was the honor of naming the child. In a deeply personal gesture, he named the newborn Valeria, after his lost love. However, the birth of Valeria sparked darker intentions within Doom. He saw in her a new opportunity, crafting a sinister plan to gain ultimate magical power. Making Valeria his familiar, Doom sought out the namesake of Sue's daughter, his old love Valeria, as part of a pact with a trio of demons known as the Hazareth 3. In a chilling ritual, Doom sacrificed his former lover to the demons, who in return granted him immense magical abilities, as if he had spent years mastering sorcery rather than science. This newfound power manifested in horrifying ways, starting with Valeria's skin becoming Doom's new armor. Empowered by this demonic magic, Doom unleashed a wave of terror upon his enemies. He trapped young Franklin Richards in hell, neutralized Doctor Strange, and rendered the Fantastic Four powerless. Sue, Johnny, and Ben were left tortured and broken, while Doom taunted Reed with a cruel twist, leaving him helpless in a magical library. Doom mockingly compared it to giving a dog a roadmap, confident that Reed could never learn enough magic to pose a threat to him. But Doom underestimated Reed's resilience. With the help of Doctor Strange, whose astral form Reed freed from Doom's traps, Reed was able to rapidly gain the magical knowledge necessary to mount a counterattack. Together, Reed and Strange tricked Doom into enraging his demonic benefactors, the Hazareth 3. In their fury, the demons turned on Doom and dragged him down into the depths of hell, leaving the Richards family and their allies free, but forever scarred by the dark power Doom had wielded against them. Hell and back. Determined to eliminate Dr. Doom as a threat once and for all, Reed Richards took the drastic step of seizing control of Latveria. His goal was simple: dismantle all of Doom's advanced equipment and cut off his resources. But Reed had an even more daring plan in mind. Subtly driving his own family away, Reed intended to trap both himself and Doom inside a pocket dimension, ensuring that Doom could never harm anyone again. However, his plan unraveled when the rest of the Fantastic Four, unaware of Reed's full intentions, tried to rescue him. This interference allowed Doom to seize an opportunity. Using his mastery of the mystical arts, Doom transferred his spirit between Sue, Johnny, and Ben, possessing each of them in turn. In a moment of heartbreaking desperation, Reed was forced to kill his best friend, Ben Grimm, to prevent Doom from using his body as a vessel. Though Doom was ultimately cast back into hell, Reed could not bear the loss of Ben. In a remarkable act of redemption, Reed used the very machine that Doom had once built to travel to the afterlife. With it, Reed journeyed to heaven itself, where he was able to restore Ben to life, bringing his old friend back from the dead. Doom's exile in hell, however, was not permanent. When Mjolnir, Thor's mighty hammer, fell to Earth, it briefly tore through time and space, creating a breach into hell. Doom seized this rare opportunity and escaped, returning to Earth once again. Wasting no time, he swiftly reclaimed his throne in Latveria and marshaled its military forces to locate Mjolnir. Believing the hammer had chosen him by freeing him from hell, Doom attempted to wield its immense power. Yet, to his frustration, Doom quickly learned that he was not worthy of the hammer. Atlantean Refugees. After the destruction of the underwater kingdom of Atlantis, Dr. Doom saw an opportunity to strengthen his position by extending his influence over the displaced Atlanteans. In a strategic move, he transformed Latveria into a refugee camp for the Atlanteans, offering them sanctuary. This act was not purely out of kindness, but part of a larger, calculated plan. Doom then forged an alliance with Loki, joining his scheme to manipulate Thor into unwittingly releasing Loki's Asgardian enemies, furthering his own ambitions in the process. Dr. Doom arrested, but Doom's schemes soon caught up with him. When a dangerous venom virus was unleashed in New York City, it was traced back to one of Doom's satellites. In response, Iron Man led S.H.I.E.L.D. forces and the mighty Avengers on a mission to Latveria to confront Doom. At the time, Doom had been using his mastery of time travel to carry on a romantic relationship with the sorceress Morgan Le Fay, seeking her guidance in the mystic arts. However, the Avengers abruptly ended this arrangement, and Dr. Doom was arrested for his crimes against humanity, facing judgment for his numerous transgressions. During the ensuing battle, Doom, Iron Man, and the Sentry were all thrown through a time travel portal, becoming trapped in the distant past. Despite their rivalry, Doom and Iron Man were forced to work together to return to the present, managing to bring the Sentry back with them. Fantastic Force. Later, Doom's imprisonment came to an unexpected end when he was freed by the Fantastic Force, a team from the distant future. The group, which included a future version of Sue Storm, kidnapped Doom and the Human Torch to use their energy as a power source for a time-travel device made from the corpse of Galactus. The Fantastic Force's desperate mission to save their future involved dark and dangerous methods, but ultimately Reed Richards and the present-day Sue Storm found a solution. They not only provided refuge for the future's displaced people, but also freed Dr. Doom and the Human Torch from their grim fate. However, Doom, ever driven by pride and the need to maintain his own sense of honor, took a final brutal step. In a shocking turn, he killed the future version of Sue Storm, believing this act was necessary to restore his honor. Even in moments that could have ended in peace, Doom's relentless need for control and vengeance overshadowed any possibility of reconciliation. The Cabal. Following the chaos of the Skrull invasion, Dr. Doom found himself part of a powerful and secret alliance known as the Dark Cabal. This shadowy group, led by Norman Osborn, also included Namor, Emma Frost, Loki, and the Hood. Each member brought their own ambitions and power to the table, united by a common desire to manipulate the world from behind the scenes. Due to Doom's status and influence, even Dracula himself sought Doom's favor, approaching him to secure a non-aggression pact between Doom, the Cabal, and Dracula's forces before launching an attack on Britain. However, Doom, with his deep disdain for Dracula, refused to recognize the Vampire Lord's regal status, dismissing his request outright. But Doom's political and mystical entanglements didn't end there. Morgan Le Fay, angered by Doom's failure to fulfill his part of a previous deal, traveled through time to present-day Latveria to exact her revenge. In a fierce battle of sorcery, Morgan Le Fay managed to defeat Doom, leaving him in a state of mystical paralysis. Sensing an opportunity, Norman Osborn and his Dark Avengers came to Doom's aid, recognizing that an ally as powerful as Doom could not be lost. Osborn managed to free Doom by linking their armors and using Doom's time cube to travel back in time, where they confronted Morgan Le Fay before she could unleash her fury. However, even with the upper hand, Doom chose not to destroy her, despite having the power to do so. His decision was not out of weakness, but because he understood the complexities of their fates. Morgan Le Fay's future was deeply intertwined with his own. Instead of killing her, Doom banished her back to an earlier point in time, forcing her to fight her way back to the present day. This bought Doom and the Dark Avengers valuable time and diverted Morgan's attention away from them. Doom's intellect and arrogance were on full display as he returned to the present, looking down on Osborn's lack of understanding regarding the time stream. With Latveria in ruins from the conflict, Doom used his time cube to restore everything: his country, his castle, and his throne, demonstrating his near absolute control over both magic and science. In a matter of moments, Latveria was rebuilt, its ruler once again seated in power, and Doom continued to play his dangerous game, always several steps ahead of those who sought to challenge him. Marquis of Death. After his initial capture and release for crimes against humanity, Dr. Doom revealed a chilling secret. Everything he knew, every bit of power and evil that he wielded, had been taught to him by a master far more malevolent than himself. That master was the Marquis of Death, a cosmic entity of unimaginable power, and Doom warned that his return was imminent. When the Marquis of Death finally arrived, he was far from impressed with Doom's accomplishments. Expecting his apprentice to have conquered the Earth and become an unstoppable force, the Marquis was disgusted to find Doom merely ruling a small country and constantly thwarted by heroes like the Fantastic Four. His disappointment turned to cruelty. In a display of his overwhelming power, the Marquis played with Doom's mind, tormenting him before delivering a brutal beating. To add further humiliation, the Marquis banished Doom to the Pliocene Age, a prehistoric era, leaving him to die alone and forgotten. While the Marquis took on a new apprentice and began tormenting the Fantastic Four as retribution, Doom was far from defeated. Stranded millions of years in the past, Doom used every ounce of his knowledge, intellect, and mastery of sorcery to survive. He waited, plotting his revenge, biding his time until the perfect moment to strike back. That moment came when the Marquis of Death was ultimately defeated by the Fantastic Four. When Reed Richards chose not to finish off the weakened villain, Doom, who had secretly returned and taken on the guise of the Marquis' apprentice once more, stepped forward and did it for him. The student had surpassed the master. Having waited centuries in the past to enact his revenge, Doom had used his time wisely, sharpening his skills and laying in wait for the perfect opportunity to strike. When it arrived, he declared that the long-standing rivalry between himself and Reed Richards had been settled, at least to Doom's satisfaction. He had not only outlasted his former master, but had once again proven his resilience, emerging stronger and more dangerous than ever. Asgardians in Latveria. When the Asgardians relocated from their floating home above Broxton, Oklahoma to Latveria following a suggestion from the ever-scheming Loki, Dr. Doom saw an opportunity for his dark ambitions. Behind the scenes, Doom began capturing Asgardians, conducting horrific experiments on them in a quest to unlock the secret to their immortality. Some of the Asgardians were mutilated and transformed into cyborgs, twisted creations of Doom's design, now serving as tools for his sinister plans. Doom unleashed these monstrous cyborgs against Baldur and the other Asgardians, sending a clear message of his ruthless intent. However, Thor, the protector of Asgard, would not let such atrocities go unanswered. He came to Latveria to avenge his people, confronting Doom in a ferocious battle. Doom, as always, was prepared. Realizing that he was at risk of losing to Thor's raw power, Doom made a tactical retreat and donned a new weapon he'd been secretly developing, a fearsome upgrade to the legendary destroyer armor. Re-engaging Thor with this near-indestructible suit, Doom quickly gained the upper hand. Thor, despite his might, found himself unable to harm Doom, whose armor was impenetrable. But Thor, ever the strategist, soon realized that the armor was powered by a battery. Using his strength and endurance, Thor bought himself time, weathering Doom's onslaught until the armor's energy began to drain. As the power of the suit dwindled, Doom was forced to retreat, his grand plan foiled once again. Following this clash, Doom had one last meeting with Norman Osborn and the members of the Cabal, a coalition of powerful figures from across the Marvel Universe. Despite Osborn's attempts to sway him, Doom once again refused to fully align himself with Norman's schemes. In a demonstration of his own superiority, Osborn unveiled a secret weapon and seemingly defeated Doom in front of the Cabal. However, Doom had anticipated this kind of betrayal. The Doom that was defeated was merely a Doombot, one of his robotic doubles. The Doombot, equipped with advanced technology, quickly turned the tables, launching a counterattack on the Cabal and Osborn's Dark Avengers. In that moment, Doom sent a clear message. No one, not even someone as dangerous as Norman Osborn, could ever hope to control him. His intellect and foresight had once again ensured his survival and dominance, proving that Dr. Doom always remains several steps ahead. The Doomwar. When Dr. Doom learned of a secretive and xenophobic faction within Wakanda known as the Desturi, he saw an opportunity to exploit the nation's most precious resource, vibranium. Known for its near-limitless potential, vibranium could be magically charged to unlock infinite power, something Doom had long coveted. With his brilliant mind, Doom devised a plan to access Wakanda's vibranium reserves and harness its power to become virtually unstoppable. Doom's strategy was as cunning as it was invasive. He developed nanite cameras which were secretly dispersed among the Wakandan population. These tiny devices turned every citizen into an unwitting spy, feeding Doom all the security details he needed to breach the heavily guarded vibranium vaults. Armed with this info, Doom succeeded in gaining access to the vast vibranium supply. But Wakanda's king, T'Challa, was not one to be easily outmaneuvered. In a last-ditch effort to stop Doom from becoming an all-powerful force, T'Challa made the ultimate sacrifice. He rendered all of the vibranium in Wakanda inert, stripping it of its incredible properties and making it useless. Doom's plan, so carefully orchestrated, was foiled by T'Challa's decisive act, robbing him of the limitless power he'd sought. Children's Crusade. When the young Avengers set out to help Magneto locate his daughter, Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, they found her in a surprising situation, living without any memory of her past and betrothed to none other than Dr. Doom. It was soon revealed that Doom had played a pivotal role in Wanda's tragic history. By channeling the life force, Doom had amplified Wanda's powers to catastrophic levels, leading to the disassembly of the Avengers and the reality-altering event known as M-Day, which stripped most mutants of their powers. Determined to set things right, the young Avengers traveled back in time with Wanda, eventually restoring her memories and unlocking her full powers. However, back in the present, Doom saw an opportunity. He betrayed Wanda and stole the life force for himself, seeking to become truly omnipotent. With this overwhelming power, Doom made a tempting offer. He promised to perfect the lives of everyone present and even revive the dead, but only on one condition. He must be crowned King of the World. The young Avengers, and X-Men refused to bend to Doom's will. A fierce battle ensued as they fought to stop him. Doom's newfound powers, however, proved too unstable and they began to overload, leaving him powerless once again. Before fleeing, Doom took full responsibility for all the chaos Wanda had caused, claiming she'd been nothing more than a puppet in his grand design. Only he, Doom insisted, had the powers to unleash such destruction. The Future Foundation. Following the death of the Human Torch, Doom unexpectedly joined the ranks of the Future Foundation, an organization created by Reed Richards. In exchange for his aid, Doom demanded that Reed restore the intelligence he had lost at the hands of the intelligentsia. With his mind restored, Doom worked alongside the team to search for alternate versions of Reed Richards across different universes. However, this quest led to his kidnapping by Reed Alpha, an alternate version of Reed Richards who brought Doom to Latveria, where Christoph von Doom had taken over as ruler. With the help of the Future Foundation, Doom and Reed Alpha rebuilt the Bridge, a device that allowed Reed to peer into alternate realities and travel between them. Doom, despite having a chance to escape during a battle with the Mad Celestials, chose instead to fight for Latveria. In an act that demonstrated his complex sense of honor and duty, Doom remained to face the cosmic threat. Ultimately, Doom lost the battle against the Mad Celestials and seemingly met his end. Yet for someone as cunning and resourceful as Dr. Doom, even death may not be the final chapter. Return. With no memory of how he survived the devastating blast from the Mad Celestials, Dr. Doom awoke in the ruins of the Interdimensional Council of Reeds. There, he found an unexpected gift left by Valeria Richards, an entire army of lobotomized Dr. Dooms from alternate realities, once captured by the Council along with 2 Infinity Gauntlets from different universes. Armed with these immediate resources, Doom established the Parliament of Doom, a council made up of his alternate reality counterparts, all serving his grand ambitions. Incursion in Latveria. After regaining control of Latveria, the nation became a site of a catastrophic event, an incursion, where an alternate Earth from another universe began colliding with their own. This particular incursion was orchestrated by a mysterious group known as the Mapmakers, who had rigged the other Earth to explode as part of their larger scheme to expand their influence across realities. Doom, alongside his adopted son Christoph Bernard, fought valiantly against the Mapmakers' forces, the Sidera Meris, who sought to mark Doom's Earth for destruction. Unbeknownst to Doom, the Illuminati, comprising some of Earth's most brilliant minds, took drastic action and destroyed the alternate Earth, preventing the incursion from annihilating their world. After the battle, Doom discovered a strange rock that had fallen from the sky, which turned out to be a beacon left by the Mapmakers. Frustrated and furious, Doom sought answers from Reed Richards and Stephen Strange, confronting them about the Illuminati's secret presence in Latveria and their role in the incursion. However, both Reed and Strange refused to give him any explanations, with Reed warning Doom to stay away from the matter of the incursions. This only deepened Doom's anger, fueling his drive to uncover the truth and perhaps find a way to take control of the situation himself. Axis. After imprisoning Loki due to manipulations by an older version of the trickster god, Dr. Doom began to notice unrest brewing in Latveria. His people were turning against him, and even Doom himself began experiencing dark, intrusive thoughts. It didn't take long for Doom to realize that Latveria was under a telepathic attack. Casting a protective spell, he uncovered the mastermind behind the chaos, the Red Skull. Meanwhile, within Castle Doom, Valeria Richards freed Loki, wielding the sword Graham, which released a truth wave. This wave broke the telepathic control that the Red Skull had exerted over the people of Latveria. Not long after, Magneto arrived at Castle Doom, seeking Doom's help and forming a team of villains to stop the Red Skull, who had now transformed into the terrifying Red Onslaught. Doom joined Magneto's group and traveled to Genosha, where they faced the Red Skull's Stark Sentinels. These Sentinels had captured several heroes who had opposed the Skull. Working together, Doom and the Scarlet Witch began casting an inversion spell designed to flip the moral compass of the Red Skull and turn his evil against him. The spell succeeded, but with unintended consequences. The inversion spread across the island, afflicting not just the Skull, but everyone present, including Doom. As the island was consumed by the spell, all of the villains, including Doom, vanished without a trace. Doom returned to Latveria, but he was no longer the tyrant of old. The inversion spell had fundamentally changed him, turning him into a selfless and kind-hearted man, determined to make amends for his past sins. Knowing that the now inverted Scarlet Witch would seek revenge for his past manipulations of her, Doom prepared for her inevitable arrival. He constructed a device capable of harnessing a portion of her powers. With help from an Avengers team assembled by Valeria, Doom succeeded in siphoning some of Wanda's power, which he used to undo one of his greatest wrongs, bringing Cassie Lang, whom he'd previously killed, back to life. However, Wanda eventually confronted Doom. Just as she was about to enact her revenge, Magneto and Quicksilver intervened, pleading with her not to cross the line by killing Doom. Taking advantage of the distraction, Doom escaped to another dimension. There, he struck a pact with a demigod to bring Dr. Voodoo back to life, seeking to make amends for yet another misdeed. Voodoo's brother Daniel possessed the Scarlet Witch, forcing her to cooperate with Doom and casting a spell to reverse the effects of the inversion. Teleporting to New York, where the inverted heroes and villains were locked in battle, Doom, Daniel, and the now inverted Red Skull worked together to cast the reinversion spell. The spell was a success, restoring nearly everyone to their original moral alignments, including Doom. In the aftermath, Doom, always calculating, took advantage of the chaos. He abducted the Red Skull and brought him to Latveria for experimentation, quietly continuing his never-ending pursuit of power and control. Time runs out. Over the course of several months, Victor Von Doom worked tirelessly with a team of brilliant scientists to reverse engineer an artifact left behind by the mapmakers during the incursion of Latveria. The Mad Thinker played a key role, successfully mapping the entire network of incursions, a series of events that threatened the very fabric of the multiverse. Doom, always 2 steps ahead, devised a bold plan. He would use the Molecule Man, whose energy frequency resonated with the Mapmaker beacon, to confront the origin of the incursions and the decay of the multiverse. The Molecule Man, one of the most powerful beings in existence, took Doom on a journey through a blank void, a space outside time and reality. From there, they traveled backwards through the mists of time, traversing different planes of existence to reach their destination. Their journey brought them to an alternate past, where they witnessed the birth of that universe's Molecule Man. During this journey, the Molecule Man's mind was restored and he revealed his true intentions to Doom. The Molecule Man explained that he was a singularity, existing in every universe simultaneously, created by the Beyonders as a bomb designed to destroy the entire multiverse. If one Molecule Man died, his universe would be annihilated, and if all Molecule Men across the universes died at the same time, every universe would collapse. Convinced that the only way to save the multiverse was to diminish the charge set by the Beyonders, the Molecule Man convinced Doom to kill every Molecule Man in existence before they could fully detonate, which was set to happen in 25 years. Doom, determined to prevent the destruction of all reality, set out on a grim mission to prematurely kill every Molecule Man across the multiverse. But each death caused tiny contractions within the multiverse, exactly as the Beyonders had designed, triggering the incursions that began to tear apart entire universes. 8 years into his journey, after killing thousands of Molecule Men, Doom encountered the first member of what would become his Black Swans, a cult devoted to him under the guise of Rabam Alal, the Great Destroyer. This figure, Yabat Umantaru, became a part of a religious following centered around Doom, who had taken on a godlike role in his quest to control the fate of the multiverse. However, not all of the Black Swans remained loyal to Doom's original plan. Some, including Yabat herself, rebelled and sought a new path. They began destroying Earths during incursions, believing it would delay the inevitable collapse of the universe. For every Earth they destroyed during an incursion, 2 universes and 1 Earth were temporarily saved, buying more time as the multiverse inched closer to total collapse. In his quest to save all of reality, Doom's path became darker and more complex, leading him to reshape entire universes, all while his cult of Black Swans carried out his will. Even as Dr. Doom's actions led to the destruction of entire realities, his goal was clear: to save as much of the multiverse as he could. Doom believed that by killing the Molecule Men prematurely, he would lessen the impact of the catastrophic explosion the Beyonders had orchestrated. Each Molecule Man was like a fuse, and Doom hoped that by snuffing them out early, he could reduce the charge. However, Doom soon realized the grim truth: the Beyonders had constructed the Molecule Men too well. Killing them ahead of time was still causing the multiverse to unravel. Faced with the futility of his original plan, Doom shifted his strategy. Rather than killing the Molecule Men, he began capturing them, intending to use their collective power to create his own weapon, a bomb powerful enough to destroy the Beyonders themselves. In the present, Doctor Strange, along with the Black Priests, launched an assault on the Library of Worlds in search of Rabam Alal, who they believed was responsible for the ongoing destruction of the multiverse. When they confronted him, Dr. Doom revealed that he was Rabam Alal. He explained to Strange that while he had been seen as the Destroyer, the true culprits behind the decay of reality were the Beyonders, not him. With time running out and the multiverse on the brink of collapse, Doom took Strange and the captured Molecule Men to confront the Beyonders directly. Using the Molecule Men as living weapons, Doom unleashed their power against the Beyonders, successfully eliminating them. However, this victory came at a tremendous cost. In the process of destroying the Beyonders, Doom's actions caused the deaths of thousands of universes, leaving only a dozen intact. In the aftermath, the unimaginable power of the Beyonders was funneled into the last surviving Molecule Man, giving Dr. Doom control over their omnipotent abilities. In his quest to stop the ultimate destruction of reality, Doom had sacrificed entire worlds, but now wielded the very power of the gods he had destroyed. Secret Wars. When the multiverse finally collapsed in the cataclysmic final incursion between Earth 616 and Earth 1610, Dr. Doom seized the opportunity to shape the remains of existence. Using the immense power he'd stolen from the Beyonders, Doom salvaged fragments of shattered realities and crafted a new world, Battleworld, a patchwork planet composed of pieces from different universes. With absolute power, Doom ruled as God Emperor Doom, overseeing his creation with Sheriff Stephen Strange as his right hand and the Foundation as his left. Hidden away in a secret chamber, the Molecule Man who contained the limitless power of the Beyonders continued to fuel Doom's omnipotence. Early in the formation of Battleworld, Doom encountered an alternate reality version of the Fantastic Four, one in which Reed Richards did not exist. In this reality, Sue Storm, without Reed in her life, fell in love with Victor. Together they had 2 children, Franklin and Valeria, solidifying Doom's role as a godlike ruler and family man in this strange new world. As 8 years passed, Doom and Strange worked to reshape the memories of Battleworld's inhabitants, warping their recollections until they no longer remembered the existence of the worlds that came before. Despite wielding the power of a god, Doom began to feel a creeping sense of failure. Though he had created the perfect world, a world without the chaos of the old multiverse, he could not shake the feeling that he was its greatest flaw. Doom believed that he lacked the ability to truly inspire his people, and he had not fulfilled his divine duty as their ruler. Even in his omnipotence, Doom was haunted by self-doubt. The seemingly unchallenged reign of God Emperor Doom was disrupted by an empty vessel which was discovered in the domain of Utopolis. This vessel was a life raft, built by survivors of Earth 1610, including the villainous Maker and the Cabal. Suspended in animation, they had survived the final incursion and had been locked away for the 8 years that Battleworld had existed. The arrival of these survivors threatened to destabilize the world Doom had so carefully constructed, introducing new forces into the delicate balance of his godlike rule. Sheriff Strange, upon recognizing the design of the life raft discovered in Utopolis, was reminded of a similar vessel he had secretly found 3 years prior and hidden on his Isle of Agamotto. Inside that hidden raft were the survivors of Earth 616, Mr. Fantastic, Namor, and Black Panther among them. Strange released them, and they quickly learned about the truth of Battleworld and its omnipotent ruler, God Emperor Doom. Teaming up with Strange, the Earth 616 survivors moved to confront the Maker and the Cabal, who'd been located and cornered by Battleworld's police force, the Thor Corps. For most of the battle, Doom chose not to intervene, remaining distant from the conflict, but his stance changed the moment he saw his old rival, Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards. In a flash, Doom teleported to Utopolis and swiftly put an end to the conflict, demanding that the newcomers recognize his godly authority. When the Phoenix, embodied by Cyclops, refused to bow to Doom and attacked him with flames, Doom effortlessly shrugged off the attack. In a brutal show of power, Doom snapped Cyclops' neck with one hand, killing him instantly. Fearing that Doom might act further against the Earth 616 survivors, Sheriff Strange used his magic to teleport them away, hiding them from Doom's wrath. Enraged by this defiance, Doom confronted Strange for daring to disobey him. The two had a tense exchange, with Strange accusing Doom of being afraid of Reed Richards. Doom, unable to tolerate the challenge to his rule or his pride, killed Strange in a fit of rage. In the aftermath, Doom shifted the blame for Strange's murder onto the Earth 616 interlopers. He commanded his adopted daughter Valeria and the science division of Battleworld, known as the Foundation, to hunt down the surviving heroes. Doom's propaganda painted them as dangerous criminals responsible for the chaos. 3 weeks later, Battleworld had fallen into disarray. The once peaceful domains were now riddled with rebellion as disorder spread across the planet. A mysterious figure known as the Prophet emerged, rallying an army against Doom's reign. This prophet was soon revealed to be Maximus the Mad, a member of the Cabal. As Maximus and his army marched toward Castle Doom, even Doom's allies began to turn against him. The Thor Corps, swayed by the surviving Thor from Earth 616, began to question their allegiance and ultimately rose up to fight against the god they once served. Doom's iron grip over Battleworld was slipping, as rebellion grew from all corners of his fractured creation. The looming confrontation between Doom and his greatest rival, Reed Richards, was now inevitable. As Dr. Doom finally entered the fray during the chaos of Battleworld, he was confronted by Black Panther and Namor. Black Panther, having acquired an Infinity Gauntlet from Sheriff Strange's hidden sanctuary, engaged Doom in a battle that transcended different planes of reality. Despite the immense power of the gauntlet, Doom ultimately bested Black Panther. However, he soon realized that the fight had merely been a distraction. Sensing danger, Doom teleports to the Molecule Man's chamber, where he found his greatest rival, Mr. Fantastic. The Molecule Man, understanding the stakes, partially stripped Doom of his godlike power, leveling the playing field for a final confrontation. As the two engaged in a furious battle, Doom accused Reed of believing he could have wielded the Beyonder's powers better than Doom had. In a moment of clarity, Reed admitted that he did believe he could have done better, and Doom, in a rare moment of honesty, conceded that he agreed. With both Doom and Reed in agreement, the Molecule Man made a fateful decision. He transferred the power of the Beyonders to Reed Richards, causing the destruction of Battleworld in the process. Now imbued with the power of the Beyonders and aided by his revived family, Reed set out to restore the multiverse, reshaping it into what would become known as the 8th Cosmos, including the recreation of Earth 616. However, Reed knew that Doom's eternal resentment and lust for power would persist. In an effort to help Doom become a better man, Reed chose to alter Doom's memories, making him believe that Reed had perished. Reed hoped that without his greatest rival to constantly pursue, Doom might find a path toward redemption. In addition to erasing Doom's memories of their final confrontation, Reed also cured Doom of the scars that had long symbolized his inner torment. With his face restored and his memories altered, Doom was returned to Latveria, left with the potential for a new beginning, free from the shadow of his rivalry with Reed Richards. Infamous Iron Man. After his time as a god left him feeling unfulfilled, Dr. Doom began to reflect on his life and his pursuit of ultimate power. Struck by the realization that perhaps his true calling wasn't in selfish domination, but in selflessness, Doom made the decision to turn his life around and become a force for good. This radical shift in perspective led him to abdicate his throne in Latveria. Before leaving his homeland, Doom appointed General Karadik, the nation's top military strategist, as the temporary head of state to oversee Latveria's transition to a free state. As part of his journey toward redemption, Doom decided to align himself with someone he had long admired in secret, Tony Stark. Doom, now unarmored and intent on proving his change of heart, sought out Stark and offered his assistance. Their paths crossed when Tony was tracking down Madame Mask. Doom revealed his intentions to Stark and helped him exorcise a demon that had possessed Mask, solidifying his newfound commitment to doing good. Doom remained vigilant, ready to assist should further demonic threats arise. During the Second Civil War, Doom attempted to help Stark through the emotional turmoil of losing his best friend, Jim Rhodes, and the destruction of Stark Tower. However, the conflict ended with Stark falling into a coma. Doom saw this as a sign, a message that his penance would require him to take on greater responsibility. Believing this was the path to redemption, Doom decided to take up the mantle of Iron Man in Stark's absence. Mephisto, however, objected to Doom's attempt at redemption and sought to torment him by using a simulacrum of his deceased mother, a painful reminder of Doom's darkest past. At the same time, S.H.I.E.L.D. made efforts to capture Doom for his previous crimes, seeing him as a threat despite his new intentions. Amid this turmoil, Doom found solace and support in an unlikely ally, Amara Pereira, Tony Stark's former girlfriend, with whom Doom developed a relationship and ultimately impregnated. Despite the challenges, including Mephisto's interference and S.H.I.E.L.D.'s pursuit, Doom managed to banish the Demon Lord and slowly began earning the trust of those who once saw him as an irredeemable villain. His journey from dictator to hero was far from easy, but Victor Von Doom was determined to prove that even someone as notorious as he could find redemption. The Return of Doom. Dr. Doom's sudden shift from villainy to heroism did not sit well with the supervillain community. His change of heart sparked outrage among his former allies, leading a group of villains led by the Hood to form an alliance with the goal of taking Doom down. After several failed attacks on Doom, the final confrontation occurred when the Hood attempted to seize control of Stark Industries. This happened not long after Tony Stark had secretly recovered from his coma. During the battle, Tony encountered Doom and the two faced off against the Hood and the demon possessing him. In a fierce one-on-one battle, Doom fought the Hood and his demonic possession, but the fight left him severely burned by the demon's power, further disfiguring his already scarred face. Despite the pain, Doom emerged victorious, defeating the villains and sending them into retreat. However, physically and emotionally battered, Doom withdrew to the ruins of Castle Doom in Latveria, isolating himself in the aftermath of the battle. During Doom's seclusion, Latveria fell into chaos, taken over by a tyrannical regime. Inspired by Zora Vukovic, the leader of the resistance against the new dictatorship, Doom found the strength to reclaim his homeland. After retaking control of Latveria, Doom rewarded Zora by imbuing her with the power cosmic, transforming her into his powerful right hand, known as Victorious, the champion of Latveria. Determined to elevate Latveria to global dominance, Doom devised an audacious plan to capture Galactus and harness his immense power as an energy source for Latveria and the world. To this end, Doom lured the cosmic entity to his country and, with the reluctant help of the Fantastic Four, succeeded in trapping Galactus within Mount Doom. However, in typical Doom fashion, he turned on his allies, arresting the Fantastic Four for trespassing in Latveria. Doom planned to execute the team in a public broadcast, a grand display of his authority. But the Fantastic Four managed to escape, with the Invisible Woman humiliating Doom in the process. She used her powers to turn Doom's armor invisible, exposing his horribly scarred face to the world. Publicly shamed and enraged, Doom's pride took a severe blow, marking yet another chapter in his tumultuous relationship with both the Fantastic Four and his quest for absolute power. Framed and Conquest of Symkaria. As tensions between Latveria and the neighboring country Symkaria escalated, Dr. Doom sent one of his Doombots to represent him at a United Nations assembly. However, a sinister plot was in motion. The hitman launched a device at the Doombot, enabling Countess Kharkov to hack into Doom's entire Doombot army. With this newfound control, she orchestrated an attack on New York, making it appear as though Doom himself was behind the assault. Though Doom eventually regained control of his Doombots, the damage to his reputation had already been done. Realizing the threat they now posed, Doom made the difficult decision to dismantle his Doombot army. As the geopolitical situation worsened, Doom began experiencing visions of himself as a benevolent ruler of the world, living with a happy family. These visions haunted him as tensions reached a boiling point. Terrorists, disguised as Latverians, sabotaged the Antlion space station, creating a black hole and causing widespread destruction. They framed Latveria and Doom for the tragedy, using the disaster to push for Dmitry Fortunov, a rival, to replace Doom as the ruler of Latveria. In an effort to de-escalate the situation and avoid further conflict, Doom made the surprising decision to surrender and was subsequently arrested. While being transported to New York, the jet carrying Doom was attacked. Fortunately, Kang the Conqueror intervened, freeing Doom just in time and allowing him to escape from the falling jet. Now a fugitive, Doom was approached by Morgan Le Fay, who offered him refuge. Confiding in her about his visions of the future, Morgan introduced Doom to the Witness, a figure who could foresee future events. But before Doom could gain insight, he was assassinated by Taskmaster, who shot him in the head, seemingly killing him. Doom's journey didn't end here. He found himself in Hell, where he confronted Mephisto and was reunited with his former lover, Valeria. After defeating the demon in a fierce battle, Doom was resurrected by Death and returned to life in Morgan Le Fay's apartment, where he blasted the hero Blue Marvel unconscious before setting out on his next mission. Doom then went to the AIM headquarters, battling Taskmaster and MODOK as he sought revenge and answers. Following this, Doom visited Frushina Markovich, the woman he had married in his visions, though the reality of those visions still weighed heavily on him. Together with Kang, Doom made his way back to Latveria. Along the way, he obtained the Ultimate Nullifier, a powerful cosmic weapon. This prompted Kang to betray Doom, but Victor swiftly retaliated, leaving Kang behind as he pressed forward. Upon returning to Latveria, Doom reunited with his loyalists and meticulously questioned them to assess their loyalty. All passed his scrutiny except for Vasily Makayev, who was revealed to be a traitor. After ensuring his rule remained unchallenged, Doom gave the nullifier to Zora, his trusted ally, and personally confronted Dmitry Fortunov. In a brutal display of dominance, Doom forced Fortunov to scar his face before ultimately killing him, securing his position as Latveria's supreme leader once again. Following a haunting vision of his sons scarring their faces to emulate his own, Dr. Doom experienced a rare emotional breakdown, overwhelmed by the weight of his past and future. Victorious, his most trusted ally, comforted him and returned the Ultimate Nullifier to him. Regaining his composure, Doom resumed his position as ruler of Latveria. Despite his reputation as mass murderer, the world's leaders sought his assistance in dealing with a growing crisis, a black hole that threatened Earth. Doom agreed to help, but on one condition: he would be allowed to conquer Symkaria without interference. With Latveria's forces swiftly invading Symkaria, Doom personally killed Countess Kharkov in a brutal sword fight, securing his victory. After his conquest, Doom confronted Ionela Novotny, a Symkarian spy posing as a member of his inner circle and the mother of Victorious. In a cold display of loyalty, Doom ordered Victorious to kill her mother, and she complied. Despite these ruthless actions, Doom continued to wrestle with his past as a villain and vowed to change, aspiring to become a benevolent ruler of Earth. In his effort to resolve the black hole crisis, Doom constructed a powerful laser designed to stabilize and reduce the black hole's activity. Every calculation indicated success, but Doom became fixated on a simple good luck wish from Reed Richards. Paranoid that Reed was mocking his work, Doom impulsively altered the laser's settings. This reckless decision backfired, accelerating the black hole's activity and seemingly causing the destruction of Earth. However, Doom was not annihilated. Instead, he found himself beyond the black hole, discovering that his visions were not his future but of another universe. A parallel reality where an alternate Victor Von Doom had abandoned his obsessive quest for power and became a peaceful, enlightened ruler. This version of Doom had forged a galactic alliance with alien superpowers such as the Kree, Badoon, Skrull, and Shi'ar, and had collected powerful artifacts like the Mandarin's 10 Rings, the Ultimate Nullifier, the Winter Casket, and Watum's Scepter. Doom was initially intrigued by the progress and harmony his alternate self had achieved, almost convinced that this version of him had found the better path. However, when the peaceful Doom mocked his obsession with Reed Richards and ridiculed his iconic armor, the original Doom's pride took over. In a fit of rage, he killed his alternate self and used the Ultimate Nullifier to obliterate that entire universe, closing the wormhole that connected their realities and returning to his own universe. This act fulfilled a prophecy foretold by Death herself, marking Doom as her greatest servant, a being capable of destroying not just worlds, but entire universes. The Last Annihilation. As the looming threat of the Reckoning War approached, Dr. Doom began preparing for conflict by setting his sights on stealing power from one of the most dangerous entities in the universe, the Faltine Lord Dormammu. Before enacting his plan, Doom arranged a political marriage with Victorious, his trusted ally, to provide Latveria with a queen and solidify his rule. In a gesture of reconciliation, Doom even invited the Fantastic Four to the wedding, offering to forgive all past transgressions. However, the ceremony took a disastrous turn when at the altar, Zora, Victorious, admitted that she'd previously had a romantic fling with the Human Torch. Though it had occurred before her engagement to Doom, the revelation enraged Victor. In retaliation, Doom punished Johnny Storm by bombarding him with an extra dose of cosmic rays, leaving him unable to extinguish his flames. With his plans for Latveria disrupted, Doom turned his attention back to space. An ally of Doom, Sister Talionis, manipulated a Skrullian cult to perform a ritual that allowed Dormammu to possess Ego the Living Planet, setting the stage for Dormammu's campaign of conquest. Doom, seeing this as both a threat and an opportunity, intercepted the Guardians of the Galaxy and attempted to force them into his service. When they resisted, Doom was overpowered but ultimately decided to formally join their team to better confront the growing threat. Together with the Guardians, Doom embarked on a mission to stop Dormammu's new reign of terror. They carried out a complex ritual to free Chitauri Prime from Dormammu's influence, which provided Doom the chance to siphon a portion of Dormammu's power. Imbuing his armor with immense power, Doom solidified his position as one of the most formidable beings in the galaxy. After Dormammu's defeat, Doom, having achieved his goal, left the Guardians of the Galaxy behind. With a fraction of the Dark Lord's power now at his disposal, Doom's preparations for the Reckoning War continued, his ambitions and power greater than ever. Reckoning War. When the Brotherhood of the Badoon launched their invasion on Earth, Latveria became one of their prime targets. As Doom and Victorious defended the nation from the onslaught, Doom quickly realized something was off. The Badoon were using technology far more advanced than their usual capabilities. Recognizing that the invasion was merely a distraction for a much larger plot, Doom left Latveria's defense to Victorious, trusting her to hold the line. Doom's first stop was Camp Hammond, a secure facility where dangerous artifacts were stored. Breaking in, he retrieved the powerful weapon known as the Tactagon. From there, Doom made his way to the Florida Everglades, aware that a powerful being called the Cormorant would be coming after the Tactagon. Laying in wait, Doom successfully held off the Cormorant's assault. Through his telepathic connection with the Cormorant, Doom tracked down the creature's master, a figure known as Helmsman, and used his mastery of magic to transport Helmsman to the Everglades. In a calculated move, Doom killed Helmsman, freeing the Cormorant from his control. Doom then persuaded the now liberated Cormorant to join him in the fight to stop the impending Reckoning War, knowing that the being's strength would be crucial. Using the nexus of all realities and Man-Thing's swamp as a gateway, Doom and Cormorant traveled to planet T-37X, the home of the Watchers, where they confronted the leaders of the Reckoning as they approached the apex of all reality. However, the confrontation was brief and brutal. The leader of the Reckoning, Wrath, activated a code word that disabled the collar around Cormorant's neck, rendering him powerless. At the same time, Doom's Tactagon was destroyed by Rapture's Warblades, cutting short their fight and leaving Doom at a disadvantage in the battle against the Reckoning. All new Sorcerer Supreme. Suddenly, the entire world was plunged into darkness as the sky was engulfed by dark force, blocking out the sun and enabling vampires to launch a global invasion. While most nations quickly fell to the vampire onslaught, Dr. Doom had anticipated such a scenario. He cast a powerful spell that instantly killed any vampire who dared to cross Latveria's borders. Prepared and calculated, Doom seized the opportunity to not only protect his nation, but portray himself as a savior and expand his influence. Seeking to bolster his power further, Doom recruited the students of Strange Academy and brought them from Madripoor back to Latveria. During this time, Doom was approached by the astral form of Doctor Strange and his wife, Clea, who pleaded for his assistance in ending the worldwide catastrophe. Doom revealed that the mastermind behind the vampire invasion was Varney, the ancient progenitor of all vampires, who had taken possession of Blade's body to lead the attack. Doom, seeing a chance to further his ambitions, made a bold request. He asked Strange to grant him the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme, claiming that only with that title could he have enough power to defeat Varney and undo the chaos. Though hesitant, Strange agreed, but only on the condition that Doom return the title after the world was saved. Now wielding the powers of the Sorcerer Supreme, Doom combined his own abilities with the magic of the students from Strange Academy to confront Varney. After a fierce battle, they succeeded in defeating the Vampire Lord. With Varney gone, Doom cast a spell to clear the skies of dark force, but his magic had an unintended side effect. It removed the vampire's weakness to sunlight, granting them a new resilience. Despite this victory, Doom twisted his promise to Strange. Instead of returning the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme, he declared that his agreement was to save the world from every threat, not just this one. He banished Strange back to his physical body and announced to the entire world that he was now the new Sorcerer Supreme and their savior. With this new title, Doom cemented his position as both a ruler and the most powerful sorcerer on Earth, intent on maintaining control as long as possible. And that's it for today, the complete story of Victor Von Doom up till now. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell to stay updated on future videos. Excelsior!